Our lead story this morning, it's day 2 of the Congress protesting over Rahul Gandhi's disqualification as the Lok Sabha MP. Like-minded opposition parties will actually meet the Congress chief Mallikarjun Kharge in his office at 10 a.m. today is what we're being told. Following that, Congress MPs are expected to gather at the party's office in Parliament at 10:30 a.m. Interestingly, the Trinamool Congress will also attend the meeting at Mallikarjun Kharge's office in about an hour from now. Remember, they've actually stayed away from the previous opposition meetings in Parliament. But opposition MPs are planning to wear black clothes to the House in protest today in what will be the first sitting of the Lok Sabha since Rahul Gandhi's disqualification on Friday. In fact, in a day-long satyagraha outside Rajghat yesterday, Mallikarjun Kharge and Priyanka Gandhi Vadra accused the Modi government of trying to silence a martyr's son. Let's go across to my colleague Arvind for the latest details. Arvind, it's day 2 of the Congress protesting over Rahul Gandhi's disqualification, and opposition parties are expected to wear black in Parliament as a sign of protest?
Yeah, Parmeshwar, a series of meetings has been scheduled today by the opposition parties. The first meeting will be at around 10 a.m. That's where all the like-minded opposition parties will be meeting at the office of Mallikarjun Kharge, who's also the leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha. So almost 15 to 16 opposition parties will be attending today's meeting. But the important takeaway from this development or from this meeting is that TMC, which has skipped almost all the meetings of the opposition parties, joint opposition meeting headed also attend today's meeting. So TMC along with BRS, Aam Aadmi Party, other parties will be attending this, like-minded opposition parties will be attending this meeting that will be chaired by Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge. This meeting will take place at around 10 a.m. and that's where the opposition parties will decide a joint strategy on how to take forward the day. Along with that, at around 10:30 a.m., all the Congress MPs will also be meeting, and this particular meeting will be chaired by Congress Parliamentary Party leader, that's Sonia Gandhi. So this meeting, the second meeting, is at around 10:30 a.m. So what we are being told is that the Congress members will be wearing a black shirt as a mark of protest over disqualification of the leader Rahul Gandhi from Lok Sabha. So after that, what we are also being told is that once the House is adjourned, then the opposition members likely to take out a march somewhere to Vijay Chowk is what we are learning. So that will be decided in today's meeting, opposition parties meeting at around 10 a.m.
Thank you much, Arvind, for joining us with that quick update. As Arvind mentioned, 15 to 16 opposition parties will attend the first meeting that's expected in about an hour from now at Mr. Kharge's office. And interestingly, the Trinamool Congress will attend the meeting. Remember, they have stayed away from the previous opposition meetings at Parliament, as Arvind also just highlighted. And the other big story we're tracking on NDTV 24/7, the Supreme Court will hear a batch of pleas challenging the remission of sentence of 11 convicts in the Bilkis Bano gang rape case that also involves the killing of 7 members of a family during the 2002 Gujarat riots. A bench of Justices K.M. Joseph and B.V. Nagaratna will hear the pleas filed by several political and civil rights activists, as well as a writ petition filed by Bilkis Bano. Meanwhile, one of the 11 convicts in the 2002 Bilkis Bano gang rape case, freed last year under Gujarat's remission policy, shared the stage with BJP's Dahod MP Jaswant Singh Bhabor and his brother Shailesh Bhabor, BJP MLA from Limkheda, at a government event on Saturday, as you can see on your screens at the moment. The convict, 63-year-old Shailesh Bhatt, and the Bhabors attended the groundbreaking ceremony of a Gujarat Water Supply and Sewerage Board project. But today, the Supreme Court bench will take up a bunch of 6 petitions challenging the remission, while one of these petitions was moved by Bano. Others were filed as public interest litigations in the wake of the outcry over the premature release of the convicts last August. And the Supreme Court is scheduled to hear a plea today by K. Kavita, BRS leader, and the daughter of Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao, seeking protection from arrest and challenging the summons by the Enforcement Directorate in a money laundering case arising out of the alleged Delhi excise policy scam. On March 15th, the top court agreed to hear her pleas seeking protection from arrest and challenging the summons issued by the Enforcement Directorate. On the 11th of March, the BRS leader appeared before the ED to record her statement and was summoned again on the 16th of March for questioning. She was last quizzed for about 10 hours, back on the 21st of March, which was her third day of deposition before the Enforcement Directorate. Uma joining us with the latest update. Uma, the Supreme Court is scheduled to hear a plea today by K. Kavita.
I've lost your audio from Delhi, but just to update that, yes, the Supreme Court is expected to hear the plea that was filed by BRS leader Kavita, and we are expecting that the bench of Justices Ajay Rastogi and Bela Trivedi are going to be hearing this particular case. As you know, this case was initially meant to have been heard on the 24th of March. That's the date that the Supreme Court had given when they agreed to accept to hear to her plea on the 15th of March, and now it's going to be heard today. We must remember that while Kavita is asking for, she is in fact challenging the summons that were given by the Enforcement Directorate for her to come and appear in person before them. She had said that it is illegal to call a woman across and that they should be interrogating her or questioning her if they want to at her residence or through video conference, and she had also challenged her phone being seized by the Enforcement Directorate on the 11th of March when she first appeared before them in the Enforcement Directorate office at Delhi. Subsequently, even after the court said that they would be hearing the plea, she has appeared twice before the Enforcement Directorate, and she was subjected to, as you mentioned, over 10 hours of questioning on each of these days. Today, while the plea of Kavita is being heard, you should remember that a caveat has also been filed by the Enforcement Directorate saying that the orders, no orders should be passed in this particular case without hearing the arguments put forth by the lawyer representing the Enforcement Directorate, and therefore they want to be heard before any order is passed in this particular case. And therefore all eyes certainly on Kavita, on the case of Kavita in the Supreme Court here in the BRS headquarters here at Hyderabad. Back to you.
Well, let's see how the day plays out for K. Kavita. Uma, thank you so much for joining us with that update. Let's turn our attention now to the other big story we're tracking. China opted to stay away from a meeting of the G20 group held in Itanagar in Arunachal Pradesh yesterday. Delegates from 50 other countries attended the meeting of the G20 Research Innovation Initiative, one of dozens of meetings planned across India in the run-up to the G20 summit in September in Delhi, when heads of 20 nations are expected to attend. It is unclear if China lodged an official complaint on the meeting being held in Arunachal, which it considers to be a part of South Tibet, a position entirely rejected by New Delhi. Delegates who attended the meet visited the Legislative Assembly, a monastery, and were received by cultural troops at the airport upon their arrival. In fact, Chief Minister Pema Khandu has tweeted out images of the leaders being received. G20 meetings are being held across the length and breadth of the country this year, when India is the G20 president, as you know. Media were not given independent access to the meet in Itanagar, but we do know China opted to stay away. Let's go across to my colleague Ratnadeep, who joins us with the latest update on this matter. Ratnadeep, China opted to stay away from a meeting of the G20 group held in Itanagar yesterday?
That's right. In fact, the G20 leg of meeting, the Itanagar leg of meeting was held on Saturday and Sunday, last Saturday and Sunday on the last weekend. And official sources from Arunachal Pradesh government have, on condition of anonymity, actually confirmed us that China had skipped the Itanagar leg of the G20 meeting, which was on research, innovations and gathering. In fact, representative of more than 20 countries were there, but China opted to skip. That's what we can confirm to our viewers. Although officials that we spoke to in the state government clearly said that the state government is not aware of the reasons why China opted to skip, and perhaps Ministry of External Affairs would be in a better position to answer to that. But this is not completely surprising, given the fact that China had always laid claims on parts of Arunachal Pradesh, and in past, even when Indian Prime Minister or head of or president have visited Arunachal Pradesh, China had objected to it. China had objected to international fundings of to Arunachal Pradesh. So, given this backdrop, and there have been recently a standoff between the Chinese PLA and the Indian Army in the Tawang sector of Arunachal Pradesh. So this is the backdrop in which now China has skipped the G20 meeting in Arunachal Pradesh capital Itanagar. This meeting, interestingly, was kept confidential as well. It was declared as a confidential meeting, and media entry was restricted. Although in other parts of Northeast India there have been G20 meetings which were held, but in those meetings media access was given, but the Arunachal leg of the meeting was kept confidential. This is also something on which the state government officials did not really wanted to comment and had left it to center to respond on it. But the big story really emerging is that China, which did not oppose India's presidency.
Right, that was Ratnadeep reporting on how China had actually stayed away from a meeting, a crucial meeting ahead of the G20 taking place in Arunachal Pradesh's Itanagar. With that, let's turn our attention now to the other big story coming out of Uttar Pradesh. Gangster-turned-politician Atiq Ahmed will be produced before a Prayagraj court. Atiq Ahmed was actually being moved from a jail in Gujarat to Prayagraj in Uttar Pradesh because the 60-year-old had refused to move, fearing for his life, as per our sources. The former MLA from Uttar Pradesh, currently in Gujarat Sabarmati jail, fears he will be killed either by a staged accident or an encounter while being taken to Prayagraj. He meant to seek sentencing by video conferencing in a kidnapping case. But meanwhile, the UP Deputy Chief Minister has said that they will only follow the orders of the court, and whatever the court says, they will abide by that. But we're being told Atiq Ahmed's convoy has actually reached Jhansi. He will later today be produced in a court in Prayagraj. But first, let's listen into what Atiq Ahmed had said yesterday.
यूपी के मंत्री कह रहे हैं कि अतीक अहमद की गाड़ी यहाँ आ रही है तो तैयार रहिए, कभी भी पलट सकती है, क्या कहेंगे? मंत्री का बयान दे रहा है।
कौन मंत्री दे रहा है?
जेपीएस राठौर ने बोला है।
पता नहीं, उनको पहले मुख्यमंत्री जी ने फोन करके बता दिया होगा कि इस जगह पर गाड़ी पलटा देंगे। और मैंने उस समय भी कहा था कि जिस समय आप गूगल से और अमेरिका से मदद ले लोगे, आपको पता लग जाएगा कि किस समय गाड़ी पलटी है और किसने पलटाई है। ये सब डॉक्यूमेंटेड है, सैटेलाइट पे सब होगा, ये रिकॉर्ड जाने वाला नहीं है। ये गलती मत करना आप। ये 3 साल बाद 4 साल बाद भी अगर अमेरिका से निवेदन करोगे, अपील करोगे, और वो निकाल के रिकॉर्ड देगा कि हर सेकंड का अगर आप मैप करोगे तो आपको पता लग जाएगा गाड़ी कैसे पलटी है।
माननीय न्यायालय का जो निर्णय है उसका हम लोग अनुपालन कर रहे हैं। इसके अलावा हमें कुछ नहीं कहना है। जो भी माननीय न्यायालय निर्णय देगा उसका हम अनुपालन करेंगे। देखिए, इस प्रकार की बातों का कोई मतलब नहीं है।
Let's get you a quick update from Assam. Ahead of the crucial delimitation of constituencies in Assam, the full team of the Election Commission of India, led by Chief Election Commissioner Rajiv Kumar, arrived in Guwahati on Sunday on a 3-day visit for holding consultations with various stakeholders, including political parties as well as civil societies. The delimitation exercise for redrawing the territorial boundaries of the Assembly as well as the parliamentary constituencies of Assam, based on the 2001 census, had been stuck for 14 years. The last delimitation in Assam was actually done way back in 1976. But unlike in other states, where delimitation of assembly and parliamentary constituencies are done by the Delimitation Commission, the Election Commission is entrusted with the responsibility in the state of Assam. Meanwhile, 2 people were shot in a Gurudwara in the US. News agency ANI reported, quoting the local police. The shooting is not related to a hate crime, is what they've added. But this incident took place at a Gurudwara in Sacramento County in California. What we do know is both the victims are in critical condition as per initial reports. 2 people were shot at a Gurudwara in Sacramento County in California. Both of the victims are in critical condition. The shooting is not related to a hate crime. It is a shootout between 2 men who knew each other, is what the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office has said. Meanwhile, the Sheriff Office spokesperson Rahul Gandhi said 3 people were involved in a fight that escalated into a shooting. He actually said suspect 2 was down when suspect 1 shot suspect 2's friend. Suspect 2 then shot suspect 1 before taking off. And a quick update from Israel now, where the defense minister has been sacked after he spoke out against controversial plans to overhaul the justice system. In fact, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu summoned Yoav Gallant to a meeting and told him he no longer had faith in him as a defense minister. The plan to limit the powers of the judiciary led to months of protests in Israel. Tens of thousands of protesters returned to the streets on Sunday night following the defense minister's dismissal. In Jerusalem, police and soldiers used water cannons against demonstrators near Netanyahu's private residence. The leaders of the protest accused Mr. Netanyahu of behaving like a dictator and destroying the security of Israel. Do remember, this new law that he proposes makes it harder for courts to remove a leader deemed unfit for office, which has angered many who consider it in the interests of the incumbent Benjamin Netanyahu, who is also on trial for corruption. And popular Malayalam film actor and former Lok Sabha MP Innocent died on Sunday after being hospitalized earlier this month. He was 75 years old. He was infected with COVID and had respiratory issues along with multiple organ failure that resulted in heart failure. Innocent had also been diagnosed with cancer back in 2012. 3 years later, he had announced that he beat the disease and wrote about his battle with cancer in his book, Laughter in the Cancer Ward. But popular Malayalam film actor has now died after being hospitalized earlier this month.